far as I'm concerned, this is the most historic room in the entire country. Now, a few feet from where you're standing, both the Declaration and the Constitution were introduced, debated, discussed, and eventually approved. The room is set up as we believe it was in May of 1787, the Constitutional Convention. George Washington being up front, seated in that chair, which has a very famous name, and I'll discuss that chair in a few minutes. Now, what has happened is we're now independent, okay? The war ended in 1783 with the Treaty of Paris. We had a document which was finally adopted in 1781 called the Articles of Confederation. We had one branch of the government, and that was the Congress. Now, under the Articles of Confederation, each state was sovereign. They could pretty much do whatever they wanted to do. The federal government hardly existed. Well, if every state could do their own thing, everybody's doing their own thing, okay? So you want this, and you want that, you want the third thing, the country's starting to fall apart. And so James Madison from Virginia called to follow the Constitution, we seized permission to have a session here. The idea was not to write a new governing document, but to fix the Articles of Confederation. But under the Articles, to make any changes, all 13 states had to approve. However, only 12 states showed up. Which state did not come? Remember what I said there? Which state did not come?
Virginia?
New York, I can be wrong. Okay? Rhode Island did not come for whatever reason. So because you did not have everybody here, okay, everybody should have went home. Okay? But our founders understood this country was in bad shape. They decided to stay, go beyond what the Congress had authorized, and write a whole new governing document. They basically met in secret, closed the doors, and put the shades down. And in just 4 months, 4 months, not like the day before you decided to go to the bathroom, in just 4 months, they wrote this 4-page document, our United States Constitution. And then they passed a very important bylaw. As the country expanded, you're going to get everybody to agree to everything. Nah, not going to work. So they passed this rule that never came out of it. Not all 13 states had to approve, but only 9 of them would. A supermajority, roughly 75%, ensuring that the will of the majority with the president over the minority view. They added the other 2 branches, a group of 6 men, 2 wearing black robes, 2 jobs. 1 to enforce or to interpret the Constitution, and 2 to act as the balance between the other 2 branches. They're still around today. 9 members, our Supreme Court of the judicial branch. And then a pretty neat idea of the executive branch composed of what we call a president and a vice president. Now, who's here from the US of A today? Anybody? Oh, well, you're going to be my foil. Okay? Now, okay, simple question. Okay? If I were to come up to you back in 1797, and I said to you, what the heck is a president? What would you know? All right, I'll ask you another question. What's a vice president? Well, you know what? Whether she knew the answer or she didn't know the answer, she's absolutely right. Because no one ever heard of a president or vice president. All the world had was kings, dictators, and so forth. But they had the wonderful idea of having someone elected by we the people to serve 4-year terms, most important, peacefully leave office. However, it was highly restrictive in those days. To vote in those days, you had to have 5 criteria. 1, 21. 2, citizen. Now comes the important stuff. 3, you had to be a male. 4, more important, you had to be a white male. And 5, you had to have property. Okay, so it eliminated a good part of the country. Okay. Then the question came up was, how are you going to elect the people? Today we have television and streaming and all that kind of stuff. Well, back in those days, campaigns were impractical. Okay. Most of us were either illiterate, or maybe you went to school for a year or 2. What to do? Well, there's a guy named Benjamin Franklin, Pennsylvania, all heard of Ben Franklin. He sat over here, came up with this idea of allowing the states to select people who actually cast votes for the president as our electoral college. So let me explain how the system works. I'm sure it's different. I'm guessing it's different in your systems. We just had an election in November, okay? Trump got more, Clinton got more popular votes than Trump, okay? But Trump got what was called these electoral votes. Now, so far, nobody's officially the president and vice president. About a week from now, December 19th, this electoral college will meet. These people will cast their votes for the president and the vice president. And the candidate that receives at least 270 electoral votes then is officially the president and vice president. Okay? In many ways, we have 538 people who are on the electoral college. Usually what happens is each party nominates people. So you're going to have 500 Republicans, 538 Republicans, 538 Democrats. Okay? The way the system works, supposedly works, is the state, the party that gets the state that wins the state gets the vote. Okay? So the Republicans won Pennsylvania, the Democrats don't have a say in the electoral votes. So they will cast their votes. And you have to kind of remember that in this country, if you think about it, 130 million people or so cast votes. But the president and vice president are elected by really 538 people. Okay, so that's the way the system works. Like it or not, that's the way it works. Now it came to the Congress. How are they going to set it up? Well, they agreed there are going to be two houses, House of Representatives and the Senate. The House would actually be elected by the people, one for every 30,000 people in the state, with, of course, with all the limitations I just talked about, okay? But the problem was in the Senate. The Senate really didn't trust what the House would do. Remember, the House is elected by us, normal people, and most of us are basically illiterate, okay? They didn't trust that. They wanted a check, a balance against who the people would vote in office. So what happens is it is agreed that in the Senate, they would not be elected by the people, but be appointed by the state legislators. And it remained that way until 1913 with the 17th Amendment. So we have been electing our U.S. senators directly for a little more than 100 years. The other part of our checks and balances system is to make sure that one house is no more powerful than the other house before a bill goes through our Congress. It must be approved by both houses. So it's always a matter of checks and balances. Well, everybody now is happy. The Constitution went out for adoption. Not everybody was happy. How could I say that? That's our most valued document. Our original Constitution lacked something. Yes? Excellent. There's no mention of citizens' rights. Some states in their constitutions had rights. It was agreed that everyone must have at least the same basic rights. And so it's agreed when the country begins again with the Constitution, amendments will be added. Our government begins again.